I see somebody asked what's on the menu for today, and my answer is that we're gonna start fresh. It's going to be because we had got a couple of new people that joined last stream, and that was a bit of a weird stream, just because it was the Chicago tour overview and all that sort of stuff. So definitely not the normal kind of thing we do. So this is going to be an incredibly normal stream. I
Ooh, a
hope.
normal stream.
I hope. We'll see. It rarely pans out that way, but we'll see. Serving up a fresh hot plate of Narday. Yeah, I'm serving a fresh hot plate of normal. We'll see what happens. Ancient's not going to be in today. He is in San Francisco. Um, and we got some regulars here already. Good to see Reveille, Golm, I Troll for You, Bert, Zero, Alistair, Celeste, Humanity, Drolanak, Rock and Rolla, and Fungi Mancer. And if I forgot to mention your name, sorry. I'm getting. I feel like I'm starting to reach capacity of names in my head. You know what I mean? Like I'm recognizing everybody, but definitely it's really cool to see the community growing so quickly. I think we're close to like 2,300 people on our server now, so that's pretty rad. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, normal stream, just the normal amount of shrimp today, please. Yeah, exactly. Uh, Everyone upvote that shrimp, for sure. Let's see here. Um, but yeah, like I said, Ancient's not going to be in today. Rhapsody's not going to be in today. So it's just being kinky today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, and in terms of what exactly we do, we'll probably go through the character portal and start making some original pieces with those. Rhapsody does have like a new profile like set up with just a whole bunch of profiles that she slapped together, but I'd rather her be here for that. So we'll probably make it pretty broad on what we actually do today. So anyone that is new here that wants to see one or two things that like they want to do, just feel free to mention it, and we'll get that started. But whenever you're ready, I'm ready, Kinky.
All right, we'll start the event. Boom.
Been so long since you started a new character. Yeah, yeah, it'll be fun to contribute something original through and through. Okay, all
And
right.
that button is pushed.
Oh my God, all the buttons have been pushed. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I'll give another minute or so for people to wander in here um, before doing any intros or anything like that. Uh, I am curious what sort of genre we go for. We usually do some sort of drawn anime aesthetic of some sort, but we're not limited to that. We could really do whatever. So I want to see from you guys inside of VC Create what sort of thing. Hey, starting soon. It's good to see Niji coming back in too. It definitely has its place compared to the other models. I really do like how well it handles like outlines versus the like you can see how in Victor's hand here that there's these highlighted strokes for the hand instead it's in a brown color instead of black. Sage actually has that all over her as a character design too, particularly when it comes to her eyebrows and her ears. They show through as a brown color when it's through her hair, but they're black otherwise. Launch kick initiated. Yes. Good, good. All right. So that should be enough people to get the ball rolling here. Hi everybody. My name is Victor Gnarly. I'm a former visual effects artist with Adult Swim and a bunch of other shows and from all the way from ABC to Cartoon Network. It's been a wild ride doing a bunch of entertainment and now doing this. So I'm so excited to make things with you guys today. I'm joined here with Kinky. We normally have AC and Rhapsody with us, but they will not be in today. We're just gonna be having a bit of a quiet Friday.
They
Not
shunned us.
not that Ancient's like raging and yelling all the time. That's like the opposite of the man. But it's certainly true that it'll be a little bit of an easygoing stream today. I'm curious what you guys want to do. So the way that we have this stuff working here, for anyone that's new, we have VC text and VC create. They are just above the stage here. You'll find. I just went past it, didn't I? Where is it? Where is it? There. Wait. Wait. Hold on a second. Let me find the streams. There they are. Okay. Just above the stage where we're talking right now, you'll find VC Create and VC Text. VC Create is where we're going to be prompting stuff together and making things. You can see that Golem has already used me and is having some fun making some comic panels. Niji is a little better at handling text than V7 right now. So it's a good idea that if you do want to make these kind of quick comics, that you either use version 6.1 or Niji 6 to do it a bit quicker. But we also have VC Text, where you guys can just chat with us, hang out, show off the actual, like, finished images that you're making instead of the kind of in progress stuff that you see when generated. It's a good way to put highlight to a message or a statement rather than just this feed of linear images that oftentimes can be a little chaotic. But we have we invite you guys to just come into there and start making whatever you guys want us to start messing with, because today is going to be a pretty open book. We're going to create an original character and then use that original character to create a character sheet, which lets us get like a range of expressions for the character. And then we start putting them into scenes. We have a couple different ways to do that now, including like 3D turnarounds and all sorts of cool new methods that we'll be showing off here during the stream. So it's not just using character referencing and just going ham. There's a lot to it, and I'm very excited to show you guys the ins and out of that. We do have a lot of regulars here today, so if you do have any questions and I don't see it or otherwise can't handle it or anything like that, I just can't handle you or whatever, then most likely one of the regulars will also chime in and just tell you some useful info inside of VC Text. I am loving Lolo Soon's. It reminds me of like Gravity Falls, a couple other shows that are definitely these like big-eyed, fun characters. I'm really digging his ghoulies. Are they called the ghoulies, right? Remind me if I named them incorrectly, but it's just a fun way to combine these two profiles here, as well as version 7 in order to create this. It's awesome. So we also have a couple of horror themed things coming from Bert here. This is from the Ghoulery. So very, very, very similar origin there, but it is a more of a high fantasy fantasy kind of thing. I really dig it. I really dig that style. Lolo's a great artist anchor. There you go. Yeah. The Ghoulies. There you go. Yes, the Ghoulies. And in terms of developing or expanding on these, I oftentimes find a character from an image I just really, really like. And that's right, the Night Market. Thank you. I always forget the name of the Night Market. It's between Lolo and the Ghoulery is leaking again. It is. It always so funny when the Ghoulery, which is a part of our server, the Gnarly Studios server, that is like a horror themed, but it's like a light horror for the most part. I really do like what you guys do. It's pleasant. A lot of horror tends to not be, and this your all stuff is like fantastic. So, but let's see here. Thank you so much, Kiki, for sending that link. The Gnarly Studios server. If you click that link or you hit that join button here, what that's going to do is it's going to take you to the Gnarly Studios server, and this is where we not only share our original characters, so that other people can, essentially get in the driver's seat and start making original stuff with those characters. It also lets you be able to, practice and develop your own skills outside your normal kind of like, demographic, especially if you're not used to doing like animated characters or just animation in general using, Midjourney video. This will be a really, really cool way for you guys to jump right in. Um, but there's so many cool things inside of the Gnarly Studios server to check out. I'm only going to point out one or two of these things. First things first, we have the knowledge base, which is a great place to find programs and other models and things that you guys can just hop into right now and start learning how to make. Everything from, oh, I have a sketch and I want to colorize it with Komiko, or I need alternatives to Adobe because I don't want to pay the subscription. Like there's so many good useful things right here that I'm just gonna suggest that you just read every one of those. Honestly, the what is it? We'll be largely dipping into the useful mood board codes because they tend to like cut out a lot of the legwork, and we can just kind of get to a certain style quickly with those. But we have a couple other cool things, including the Whips forum. So if you have maybe a big comic or a graphic novel or a video series that you're working on, you can post in the Whips, and we will be able to help critique it. And what that's really the only space that we come in there and we say, hey, this would make it a lot better. This would make some big changes. We understand that not everyone really wants that. Like some people just want to make something and just let it be its own thing and not really worry about every tiny mistake in the images. So generally speaking, the whips areas for like proper critique, right? Everywhere else you can just kind of post things and not worry about, about the reception of it or anything like that. Like I said, character portals where you submit original characters, and then we also have the challenges. And the challenge is a good segue for me to get into the comic that I released last week, or sorry, this week, I guess. Yeah, I'm already forgetting. But let's see, you guys are already chatting like crazy. Let's see here. We don't bite unless you want us to. Ooh. And then, hey, Enid, good to see you. Oh, that's cute. I love how much we're able to bring things to life in Midjourney Video. Like that's just you. Like that's how I see you. You know what I mean? And you're just hanging out with your cute little unicorn, which reminds me of the Pyro from Team Fortress 2, by the way. The cute little pink pony that the Pyro has is just like that. It just behaves like that. It's so cute. Um, so we see here, yeah, just cats being cats. Yeah, there you go. But if we click on the magazine homework, this was our homework from 2 weeks ago, and you guys submitted a bunch of original '90s inspired magazine covers. And the reason why I asked you guys to do that was because I needed a bunch of magazine covers for the newsstand that Michael and Sage stand in front of in my next comic, or in the comic I released this week. And I'm really happy with how all this came out. You guys really knocked it out of the park for this one. I had to skip a couple of them only because, like, one, there wasn't enough room for all of them, but two, it's also like like I had to be a bit considerate of style clashing and stuff. So like, there's a couple of the IRL ones I skipped, or I at least minimized their attention. The only one that I altered, the only one that I changed from anyone's comic that's here, the only one that I changed was this one from Nixie. And the only thing I changed was I changed the guy's face to a lion because I thought that would be funny for the audience to see, like, a lion's face and go rawr. So that's it. That's the only poster that I changed. But let's dip into that comic really quick and show you guys just how the magazine covers got used, because I did ping everyone that got featured in it, but I want to be able to also give a proper highlight here. So let me full screen this for you guys. This comic was pretty special because it included a little intro page that featured my two friends, Fran Sunblad and Emerson Murray, who I haven't talked about Emerson, but Emerson's amazing. Emerson does a series that's set in 1985, so if you grew up in the mid 80s and stuff like that, you're gonna really dig his series. He talks about like growing up in like poor in the South and all that sort of stuff. And what he did for my series is he aged up his characters by 10 years and talked about when they were in college, and he has yet to even get to that point in his comics. So that was just such a blessing and so fascinating for me because I'm a fan of his series, and I just seeing his characters aged up, they're just taller. But it's so cool. It's so cool for me. But his series is called Little Karate Pants, and you can find it on Instagram and Reddit. But what we did is we combined our three hand drawn comics to really give a sense that this was the funny pages of a real newspaper. And the reason why is because this was. I went and used Google Books or Google Newsstand or whatever it's called. And I specifically searched for the date of the comic, which is August, or basically I was looking for early August 1995. If you're not familiar with my comics, they're set 30 years in the past to the day. But the what was so cool about this was I found the funny pages of, I think it was the Star Lance newspaper, and it had this perfect opportunity for me to make a steamed hams joke from Simpsons, and I just I just went ham. I literally did. I literally went steamed ham on this entire thing. So it's a real newspaper that I modified and made it appropriate for the story. So the next page, though, is where we start to see Ural's newspaper. Or sorry, Ural's this newspaper is obviously grilled, right? Yeah. But if we zoom in here and we start to first see Ural's magazine covers. That's cute, Enid. I just like them being just cute together like that. But if we take a look here, you start to see the newspapers pop up as we go through a discussion between Michael and Sage. And I'm not going to line by line read this to you guys. You guys are more than welcome to read this on your own time. Great. I just deleted my home bar there. Let me refresh this. Okay. If you guys do want to read it on your own time, you're welcome to. It's right here. But I do want to point out a couple of cool things that we did with Midjourney in this comic. So first off, the magazine covers, you guys are all there. It was actually pretty tough to make sure that everyone got featured in a big way because the camera moves a lot in my comics. And I was I was exploring like how to composite or do compositions that really highlight every individual person the best I can. And if I missed you or if you got covered a bit, I'm sorry, but it is true that I went out of my way to make sure that everyone got as much of a hey, we want to make this joke visible. There was a couple of people laughing at the Stonks comic or magazine cover, sorry, as well as the Gaines comic from Bert. I thought that was pretty cool to see. But we basically immediately zoom in to a discussion about the Windows 95 Media Bonanza. That was a real article title that I lifted for this because I really wanted it to be that we're jumping back in time, and at the time IBM was in this transitionary stage where they didn't really have anything figured out for themselves. They Warp as an operating system was a disaster, and it was something where Windows 95 had all the hype. Everyone was talking about it. It was that kind of thing, and they had a big media blitz planned for what will be 30 years on Sunday, but I will be releasing the next comic on Monday. So you get to start to see all that stuff on the next comic. But you could see that each one of you guys got featured in the background of each one of these panels. Not so much this one, but we'll skip over this one. But you can see, as I was zooming in, I changed the camera perspective by using omnireferencing to be able to shift not only the characters and their postures and their expressions, but I specifically aimed for certain shot angles. And if you run your your OREF or omnireference at a pretty high value, you can retain a ton of what's already in the image. The only thing that wasn't included in the omnireference was Ural's magazine covers. It was just an empty shelf that was there. And so we'll be going into some of the prompting that was done in order to get this stuff done. But everything you're seeing here is Midjourney. The character art, all that sort of stuff. The only thing that isn't is the small patches and cleanups that I did in Photoshop. So as well as the some of the expressions, especially in Michael, I kind of did some hand done work on Michael's expressions for this. But you could see as I was shifting the camera around a bit, I wanted it to one feel natural, so like we're always kind of looking at the two characters standing at towards the far end of the newsstand, but as it comes in and people are able to like zoom into each one, it really does highlight each comic, including like Lolo's Wanted comic shows up in this bottom right here, and we just kind of dig into each one. It was really cool. I thought you had drawn some expressions and characters this time. I okay, all right. So I definitely went through and cleaned up a couple of things. I mean, usually the mouths I redo in some way because I'm not really happy with, or at least it doesn't feel like my comics whenever I see the mouths in most of the generated images. But there's a lot of this is generated. Oh my god! Like, it because this top panel here where they're kind of looking at each other dismissingly, or like Michael's looking at her dismissingly, and she's just kind of like, yeah, I very much use this specific panel as the omni reference for the rest of the comic. Even going back, I was like, you know what? I like that panel a lot. So let's use that panel and say, let's change the context of that. She is, angry and upset while he is holding the newspaper now, or any of these kind of things are what I use in the prompts to get that variety. So, but this like the top panel, this is almost fully generated. Like this one up here, this is all like I did not. The only thing I changed with Michael here is I made his eyebrow a little more distinct, and with Sage here, I think I went through and I cleaned up her tie. The guy in the background, I definitely like the newsstand like seller. I generated separately and then popped them in there. Similarly to how you guys each did your magazines, and I just kind of composited that all together. But yeah, slowly but surely, everyone got featured and everyone got in there, and and it's just cool. It's just so cool to work on things with you guys, and I was so happy. I really need to figure out a credits panel page for you guys. That was my biggest oversight, was I didn't include a credits page to make sure everyone got credited who was involved in this comic. So I did do it in the comments, but I will do that on any future collabs like we did here. It's I want to make sure you guys get that proper recognition. So it's something that I'm kind of familiar with. I have worked on a handful of productions that I'm not credited on, right? Like I'm not credited on the last episode of The Office, even though I was on set for that episode. I'm not credited for any of the Better Off Ted. I'm not, even though I was there almost every day of set. I'm not in the credits of that show. It's common. It's common in Hollywood for that to happen, and it has to do because of unions, particularly, like that people don't get credit in things. But it is one of those things that I still learned a lot. I still did a lot for those shows. So I at least at this point, though, we got to the end of the comic. It's so common, yeah. It is something that you do hear a lot of. I mean, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Michael Jackson is a voice actor, and due to contracting issues, they just didn't credit him. He just really wanted to be on The Simpsons, and so if you know what episode I'm talking about, you'll instantly recognize that it's Michael Jackson from a mile away. But I think it involves a ex-convict, if I remember right. I don't remember. I don't remember the exact plot, but it's the episode. Even the episode isn't even on Disney Plus for some reason. Large Mike, yeah. It's probably for that reason, honestly. I imagine that there's some legal snafus that were involved with getting him on the show. But there you go. So that is my little review of the finished product. But getting there is a different story. Making stuff with Midjourney in order to make finished comics like what I did there. Usually takes not just refinement or practice. Look at this. This is from Eevee Hedgehog, by the way. It just looks like Lolo's art a bit there. That's pretty cool though. But if I kind of dig through some of my previous results here, I'll be able to show you guys all that sort of stuff. I want to take a break from it just because I recognize that it's a lot of one thing. But we're gonna dive ourselves into that here in a little bit. and show you guys how that how the comic was constructed. But for now, I am going to dig ourselves into VC Create, and we are going to explore one way to make original characters in Midjourney. So let's see. The giant knight protects a fantasy world village from the dragon. The knight holds his sword up, ready to strike. The dragon breathes fire, flying above the village. Let's see. Omni reference. And this, I believe I already recognize this character. I believe this is Zero's character, right? Let's take a look, see here. If I go into the character portal, I see people are working on Piper right now. That's awesome. But I see Reveille. It's Reveille. That's right. Reveille's Maze Knight. And look at that. There's the Maze Knight right there, and it was from using this Omni reference of the Maze Knight. That's so cool. And you were able to get him to spin around pretty good doing that too. And that seems to be entirely because of the prompt so focused on the dragon at the start. Yeah, cool. Let's see here. If we got the disgruntled fruits comic fighting over credits 4 panels. I troll for you. That's funny. The disgruntled fruits comics inside of the Sage and Michael series is kind of like my first meta series. It's a show within the show, just like we have the show after the show. We do a talk show where you can come onto the stage after we do the streams here. But the disgruntled fruits was actually a response to some recent changes to the subreddit r comics on Reddit. I won't get into all that right now. It's just I needed to make an IRL series to promote the Sage and Michael comics, so I figured why not make a comic inside of my comic. So it's Michael's newspaper is the disgruntled fruits. The show before the show when the show before the show when is my breakfast and my smoothie that I have to get in order to do this stream without losing my voice. So at this point though, I do love the knight, by the way. I do think we should dive into that knight character once we have made an original character in this stream. Let's see, Gompasta, a gritty anime character concept of grumpy, lanky, tall catgirl mage with a bright pink modern clothes, pink witch hat with with cat ears poking through. Of course, I'm not surprised. Gloomy expression, long black hair, black eyes, pale skin, black boots, and that's exactly what she got. Then it is a Kinky Kong her event, so there's a show before the show already. That's right, yeah. Kinky does do.
That's true.
She does do her show. And if do you want to just make your announcements now, or do you want to hold off for a bit?
Hold off a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. So
Unless you need me to, I can do that.
no, I'm taking little tiny sips in the meantime. All good.
Okay.
So what is it? I figured we're gonna try to create one of the characters that you guys are working with here. It would be fun to develop something with one of Lolo's profiles that he's been working on here, but I want to see as well just a little higher up in case anyone gets missed here. Bert, the disgruntled fruits, an old banana man with brown spots and a wispy beard. He looks super tired. He does indeed look super tired. He looks more like a pumpkin or a squash than a banana. But I do love the look of this though. Like, man, does that guy look tired? I've definitely felt like that sometimes. After driving 8 hours or whatever in order to get to and fro from Chicago, I've definitely felt like that. Let's see here. The anthropomorphic kiwi feet Akido. Okay. This one is from I Troll for You. Okay, cool. I'm gonna see. Ooh, this one could be a challenge. Gomes, alien character here. I wonder if we can accomplish this more with a 3D turnaround than we could like normally, like with just the description. But yeah, this one might be fun. So we're gonna use the video model, and we do have a proper tutorial for this inside of the knowledge base. So if I click on knowledge base here, how to use video to create turnarounds, this is actually something Golem made for us, and you can see it just makes these awesome complete turnarounds that we can use to create the base model of our character sheets. because we're going to need our character to be seen from multiple angles in order to reference them correctly. You can re-roll, re-roll all you want to the point where you can see the backside of a character that you only have the front image of or whatever. But this is way faster because it lets us say, all right, boom, that shot right there, that frame of that video is now our reference instead of only one image. So what I'm gonna do is click on copy link and then paste that link for you guys. It's so good. It really is. I'm so happy with this tutorial. Thank you, Goom, for putting all that effort into this. And you can see I took advantage of it for my fantasy characters as well. It really just lets me be able to so quickly get these cool angles from my characters. And we've done previous streams for blocking, where you take these videos and you include them in a video editor and you just slide them around. We'll probably dig into that a little bit too today. But let's start by creating a turnaround of this character right here. So let's go ahead and say that we want to animate low motion, okay? And because I have remix mode on, remix mode is letting me edit the prompts, okay? We don't want a bunch of character description because it's inside the visual now, but we're gonna do a very loose description of the character and ask for a 3D model turnaround. And look, Reveille is awesome. It looks awesome. The Maze Knight one is so good. I really do dig that. In terms of like doing the video compositions, it helps to do it on a white background, or a green background, so I can green screen it. But this is perfectly fine. I'll be able to make it work. We might lose this sword at certain angles because the brown is very close to the color of the sword, but very, very usable regardless. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this is a 3D model turnaround of an alien, I guess a lizard-like character, but I'll just say like an alien with a tail, just to really reinforce the very core aspects of this character that we are seeing. We don't need the the model or the style. We can get rid of all that. The profiles and whatnot are also going to be ignored. Almost all this stuff is ignored except for the motion and the speed that you're going to be rendering on. And because I have everything with turbo mode on for this stream, I also going to include -- fast so that it renders the video. When I don't do this, that's when it goes, hey, we don't offer turbo mode for videos. So I'm just going to be writing fast in here. You guys shouldn't have to do that though, because you can easily click on your settings, either on the website or here on Discord with /settings, to be able to see what your current preferences are. But you just want to make sure that when you type /settings that remix mode is on, because that's what's going to allow Midjourney to turn from, basically an RNG machine to an iterative designing tool. Because it means that we can say, hey, I like this, but I want to make a couple tweaks. I like this, but I would rather it have this background or no background or whatever. It really helps out to have remix mode to refine the images you get. But you could see that we're starting to get this turnaround here, and it seems like it may not have done the full character. We might need to reinforce the aspect ratio, but I'll see what we get. It's almost like a bird person that we're getting here. But we'll see what we get off of this. I wonder if it's going to be 16:9 like you were seeing here. Oh yeah, loop. Yeah. If you are having trouble getting a full turnaround, you can just include -- loop in order to have both the frames, the starting frame and the end frame, be the same image. By default, the end frame is different, and if you manually just select the start and end frame as the same image, it basically does the same thing as loop does. But look at that. So it's quite common for the characters to kind of emote or move around a bit when you're doing these sort of turnarounds. But we can just pick whichever one we feel like is the best representation of the character. I think the third one is going to sell it for me because the face doesn't lag like it does on the first and fourth one, where it feels like the character is kind of looking to the left and looking to the right as it turns. Like it's almost like trying to look always at us at at the viewer. The third one seems to kind of knock it out of the park for me for that. So let's go ahead and select that one. And I'm going to just immediately download this video because I don't really need anything else. I can work off of just this. So let's grab that. I'm going to put it on my desktop. I am also going to grab this GIF of Reveille. Do you mind including the video file for the Maze Night here? I want to show them how to do the live video compositions. You don't. I could work with the GIF. Don't get me wrong, I could. It's just going to look a little better if I do this with the video because the GIF kind of lags compared to the what is it compared to video to the video file. Yeah, sweet, awesome. And let's see here. Golem is starting to go on this continue with the character concept here, and let's see. Full comic page with multiple panels. A giant knight protects the fantasy world village from a dragon. The knight holds his sword up ready to strike. The dragon breathes fire, flying above the village. So version 7 is probably the best model so far for understanding the line order of your comic panels, right? Like if you start describing something from left to right, it tends to do a pretty decent job trying to interpolate that, especially when you do have so many kind of overlapping themes probably within your profiles. But it is just super, super cool. I really actually dig all of these results. They do all have their own potential for different reasons. Just being able to have the dragon talking to him in the first page is just awesome. The fourth one seems like it's pretty accurate to. Oh well, the second one's probably the most accurate to what's in the prompt, but it's all very cool. I love that. So developing on top of finished comic panels is something that is hard to do in this way, where you're just kind of saying, hey, give me a whole page. And sure, we could imagine or otherwise treat this like found art and make definitions for each piece, like why each panel moves the way it does. But these are most likely going to become assets or just parts of the comic instead of saying, hey, generate the full comic for me. It is helpful for creating a certain consistency of the layout and of the world. But when it comes to particular character consistency, that's where we start to get into the benefits of kind of breaking this up into assets. Potato propagator said the knight stabs the sweet potato with his sword and holds it in the dragon fire. Oh yeah. You're effectively like deep frying it with the dragon. So awesome. Thank you for sending that to me, Reveille. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this as well, and then open this up inside of any video editing program you like. So I will be using After Effects today in order to get us a just something I'm familiar with. But you could use Vegas. You can use screw it. You can even use Windows Movie Maker. And I'm not even sure if Windows Movie Maker comes with Windows anymore. But you could do it technically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit New Composition here and go to my tablet only here. I'm going to I have to open this up. New Composition. There we go. And we are just going to set this to a 1920 by 1080 video footage and 24 frames per second. Now, by saving it like this, I'm going to first off get this window in the appropriate place. Right here? Sure. And then get my layers right there too. Okay, cool. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag both of our video files into this composition, like so. You can see here that we have, into the project here. And we have essentially a one comp that's just a white background. So let's first drag both of these videos into the composition. Okay, and you can see it just kind of slapped them right in the middle based on the size of the videos. Okay. So let's put them first side by side, so we can see what's going on here. And I'm going to make this much bigger so that it's easier for you guys to see on the stream here as well. This will not take a while. I just want to show you guys a cool way to do this. So say we wanted these two characters talking to each other. Okay. First off, let's make sure they stand around the same floor. And let's go ahead and make this character smaller than the Maze Knight. I figured the Maze Knight is kind of like gargantuan compared to him. So let's go ahead and shrink him down to something like this. Okay. That's good. I like that. He's kind of like impish in that way. Okay. So now that we have this composition set up, what I want to do is I want to have these two characters talking to each other, and there's all sorts of different shots, like compositions we can pick from, but let's do it over the shoulder of the Maze Knight, so it's like the Maze Knight is looking down or otherwise looking at this character here. And so what we need to do is first find the position of the Maze Knight in the timeline that shows the Maze Knight kind of in the right direction. So something like this. I would say that that's a pretty good position for him. Now, for the lizard guy, I want him to be looking up at the lizard man here. So I am going to now, instead of dragging the main timeline bar, I am only going to drag the lizard guy. So we make sure that's the right layer. And now I drag the lizard guy into position, something like this. And we just now position him like so. We will be able to crop out the character here using the live roto brush. This should be a pretty lazy way to do it anyway. So I double click the actual layer and then I just select the character's shape, general shape here, and make sure that we have everything selected. A little bit of the feetsies need to get selected too. I'm not going to worry about shadows, nothing like that. I'm just going to make sure we have all of his clothes selected, that we're not missing anything. Okay. There we go. A little bit of the tail. That's the live roto brush. It's amazing for this. And now we are just going to go back to our composition. And you can see that we need to tweak that roto a little bit because now he's missing his jacket and his top of the hoodie. So let's just continue making selections. If we hold shift, it's like a negative. It'll delete things. Oops. Let me just come into here and it's alt. My bad. Alt. There you go. And you hold alt to negative select things, and there you go. We now have a proper selection. At least when we go back to our composition now. There you go. Wha-bam. We have our two characters inside the same scene. But if we don't want this harsh white like bar that's here, let's just make sure that we set one more layer in here, which is a solid layer. So we go to layers, new, solid, and then we're gonna select the color of the background for the Maze Knight. So we come and pick the color picker, come into here, and then hit OK. Potato Propagator asks, are there any free alternatives to After Effects that have similar work? Yes, actually. Inside of the knowledge base, you'll find alternatives to Adobe. And I believe Vegas can do all the RotoBrush stuff, I believe. So I'll show that off here in a little bit. I want to get through this first, and then I'll show you where you can find that. So now that we have this brown composition, we just drag it to the bottom, like so. Well, bam. And now everything looks right. The character has been rotoed out. We might want to make sure, his foot is nicely selected. We're good there. So now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and just export this composition. So we go into composition, save frame as, and then file. And it's pretty straightforward to just put this on our desktop and then start using this as an image prompt. But I'm going to say that this is the confrontation. Just to give us something to save up for now. Oh, sorry, that was pretty loud. My bad. I gotta find a way to lower After Effects volume for renders. That was so loud. If I do lose any internet, guys, by the way, I do have a pretty big thunderstorm coming through here right now. If I do lose internet at all, the Kiki will take over for a bit. But let's see here. Okay, now that we have that composition, we can easily drag it into Midjourney and start using that as a image prompt. Let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, sorry. Okay, create, And you can see I was messing around with some fun little victors coming into frame, kind of looking like, I'm disappointed in what I'm looking at here. Kind of a look. I was messing around with a few expressions. I actually like this one a lot. Just judging art was just kind of funny for me, so I'll paste that inside of VC text for you guys. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take our image prompt that we just exported. So I put it on my desktop, I believe. That's right. It's still a Photoshop file. Let me export it as a PNG really quick. 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. So I have this image prompt here. I think Rhapsody is a DaVinci is a completely free version. Yeah, I think DaVinci. Yeah, go ahead and start downloading that because I believe that's it. But
I really like to use CapCut as well, and that's you can do almost anything for free in that.
right. Yeah. Any of the paid stuff is just the extras, like a lot of like sound effects and things like that. I feel like are free too. So, iMovie for Mac users, right. Um, let's see here, and then Snoopy showing off some Snoopy gifs here. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have this image prompt here, and we could use it also as an Omni reference, but I'm going to come into here, make a selection, and set it to a. Let's start with an Omni reference. I think that'll be more interesting. And we want to make sure we get a description of the Mage Knight, and we want to make sure we get a description of this lizard guy in there as well. So inside of the knowledge base, and I know I'm skipping a few steps here because we haven't made a character sheet for these guys yet. And the Maze Knight, well, the reason why I didn't do it, and I should probably explain why, is because if I come into here and we look at these characters, the Maze Knight has a helmet on. The expressions would basically be how red his eyes are and how pitched down his head is. There's not much else to it. I mean, it's like when they hired that one really known actor to be Boba Fett, but he's just behind a mask the whole time. You know what I mean? Or just those there's not a lot of expressions in terms outside of the poses of the body that we could do for Maze Knight, and then the lizard guy. The lizard guy is I mean, he's just a lizard. Lizards are not human. They don't have ranges of expressions. We could make them. We could force them to have a smile and all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, I didn't really get much expression out of either of these characters. So I'm more likely going to just prompt with them and then see what we get. So let's do that. We have our composition here. Let's set this first as a. I like to describe the medium that I'm working on. So if I'm making a film, I describe it as a film. If I make it as a comic, I describe it as a comic. But I want to say that this is a graphic novel. Let's just go to graphic novel this time. A graphic novel depicting a large metal knight. And inside of the character portal, there probably is a description of this character too from Reveille. So let's see here. Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of good description here. Good summary for us to work with. Physical description. Oh, wow. From the chivalric knights, the construct forms of both elegant and imposing. Its primary chassis is silver gray metal adorned with intricate golden filigree that channels and regulates its immense magical power. If we just copy and paste this whole thing, it's probably going to be a little erroneous, like a little random at times in terms of the results. But look at this. We have a full like facial turnaround from them. That's awesome. This will be very useful in the next step. And then we also have just the full turnaround as well. So from the videos and stuff that we were just messing with. So if you do want to work with individual images instead of the video files, he has them all right here. That is so cool. So let's go ahead and just get this. That is a realm scale guardian construct. That's so cool. I'm gonna go with a magi armored Colossus Knight. That sounds like a good enough description for us to work with. If you do have any others that you would recommend, Reveille, feel free to just type them in there. But we're gonna go with the large metal magi armored. Then what was the rest of that description? A knight, right? We're just gonna go with knight. Okay. Sorry, I keep bouncing around here a little bit. Okay, there we go. Night. And then whatever result I get out for this, I'm going to post inside of VC Create for everybody to spin off of. But let's see, depicting a large metal Magi armor knight talking down to a small lizard man in an orange hoodie. And so we might need to describe that he has a tail, might not. We'll have to see what sort of composition we get out of this right off the bat. But if we submit this, we need to make sure we also include an aspect ratio. So because I am describing a graphic novel, let's go with graphic novel panels, so we could maybe get some variations of this shot. And then I'm going to set this to 4:5, which I feel like is a pretty good aspect ratio for most graphic novels, books, that kind of thing. If we need to do it taller, we can, but usually people read things that are a little more square than tall. So let's see how this looks. We'll be able to reinforce some of these results too by combining image prompts and omnireferencing as well. The style referencing, like it basically trying to combine all three of them, could be a little bit convoluted, but we'll see what we get off of the comic panels here. And the lizard man definitely is being loosely interpreted here as just kind of more like a gator man rather than our alien, shape that we had come up with. He's a little bit more fleshed out on the top here, but I am going that. Here we go. Okay. So we're basically getting a two-shot from this because that's how it's being interpreted from this image here. If I wanted to preserve the composition more strictly, we could also say, hey, this is not a graphic novel. This is like an animation or something. But if I come into here, hit use, and then I hold shift and drag to image prompt, it's going to use this image as both an omnireference and an image prompt. And so we're far more likely to get this exact composition more preserved inside of the results and have it look a little less like a graphic novel. Depending on these results, we can set a weight for the image to decide how much it dominates the result versus whatever is default. So we might even need to lower it if it's just kind of messy. So we'll see what it does. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm having a great day. I think I feel like I've been running around a lot this last month or so. So today is a day for me to just hang out and relax and chill with you guys and make things together. Look at this. Okay, so it's still very much a two-shot, but the composition is far more preserved in all of these, right? So we can maybe even describe this as an over-the-shoulder, but let's say instead of a graphic novel, I'm going to do this. We're going to say that this is a animated film depicting the back of a large, marmor knight, but this time we are going to also include a parameter called image weight, or IW. And this is one of the oldest weights in Midjourney. So image weights is essentially going to dictate how strong the actual image that's inside of the image prompt is. The default is 1, and the max is 3. I usually go for something pretty high and something pretty low as a test. We already know that we are not really there just yet, just off of being at low. So let's go for 2.5 and see what that gets us. And because I switched it to animated film, it's almost always best to preserve the aspect ratio of whatever you're intending to make. Think about like the final product of whatever you're making. That's probably going to be the right aspect ratio for what you want to do. So for this, let's do 16:9 and then submit that. And you can already tell that we're very, very close because of just how preserved it is, how well it's using this image right here as the guide for the result that we're getting in Midjourney. And at some point, it doesn't really make much sense to do it in Midjourney because we've already gotten this image. So we might want to lower it or add some diversity to this result. It did flip it. It did flip it. But this is what happens when the image weight is set really high, is it tends to just almost give you the exact image that you had started with, just with like very minor tweaks, right? You can see the tail's a little chopped off here, and there's a different face on the lizard guy because the prompt lizard man is so ambiguous. I do like this one. That's pretty fun. But let's go ahead and instead of lizard man, let's actually describe him as an alien, right? Now, granted, if I say alien, we could get some grays in here. So I might say alien with a pointed face or something to kind of move away from that. But we are getting very, very strong results of the characters in this composition with this, which means that I can start to diversify this even more and see what we get. Let's first try to switch back the aspect ratio to 4:5 to see if we can get this like almost like they're talking to each other. But I also want to switch the small lizard man to a let's see here, to an alien, pointed face alien. Yep, because the thunderstorm is happening outside, my little dog is scared. He's at my feet right now, spooked. He hates thunder so much. He hates fireworks and thunder. And if we feel like this is like too literal, by the way, we can even lower the omni weight a bit, but it's going to allow for a lot more creative freedom. Yeah, that's what he's like. He's looking at me just like that, 100%. And yeah, he's cute. That's a cute dog though, very much like a little person.
I don't think my dog even hears thunder.
Oh yeah.
He's so deaf.
Oh damn. We're almost done rendering this one, and then we'll be able to make some judgments on this. It was dark and stormy night. Boom, boom, boom. That's fun, Snoopy. So if we look at here, yeah, this is basically the exact image that we had. You know what I mean, right? So that's actually a good thing. It lets us know that we are able to recreate the image, very well. But let's add some diversity to this now. So let's say that this is because of the power of omni-referencing. If we drop it just a little bit, I'm going to say that like 175, not too much. And we are going to now say that the scene, like a location for this to happen, omni-reference is intelligent enough to be able to really, really preserve the context that we want while removing the stuff that we don't, right? So let's give this a try. And instead of an animated film depicting the back of the metal Magi Knight, armored knight, I'm going to say depicting a scene in a fantastic castle garden. We witness. There's no need for this. You can be as redundant and incorrectly grammared as you want to be when it comes to this stuff. Frankly, Midjourney is really, really good at figuring out what you meant by what you said, but I want to see just how much now we need to lower the image weight in order to reveal this garden. And I think you guys are going to notice that it's just a matter of picking and choosing between omni weight and your image prompts. Probably dropping the image prompts more from here, but we'll see what this gives us. Celeste says, "Oh, my cats are weird. They like thunderstorms so much that they run into a particular window and watch the lightning." It's probably the flashing of the lights are just kind of like, like I don't know, like it's just exciting in a way. My cats were like, as long as I don't get wet, nothing's real outside. So they didn't care. But my little dog, he has his head on my knee right now. He's like, please, Papa, make the boom booms go away, make them stop. But yeah, exactly. Ah! But if we notice here, we got our results, and this is going to be teaching us quite a lot because it's going to teach you exactly how powerful each one of these parameters are with this particular result. So let's see here. We have just a little hint of the castle gardens coming through because the image weight is so high. Think about it. If the max is 3 and this is set to 2.5, that image is largely brown area. It's largely like a beige color, right? So that means that we need to significantly lower the image weight to get the result that we're looking for here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll hit use on the website and then switch this from 2.5 to 0.5. I've gone as low as 0.05 before for comics and things like that, where I was just like, I just want a hint. I just want a little subtle hint of this image inside of the result. Dropping that down a lot helps. Oh wow, that is a real storm outside. I understand why my dog is spooked. But look at what it's doing. Look at this. Yeah. Okay, awesome. It's definitely changing our composition because we're losing the benefit of the image prompt guiding us to that result, but that doesn't matter because we have so much more context to work with that we'll be able to basically either re-roll or in-paint the result that we're looking for. I love this, by the way. Let's go ahead and click on this. So you can see just by dropping the image weight significantly, we were able to create this entire, castle garden to show up within this scene. Like, this is the image we started with. It was the fact that it's able to just do this in such a smart way is the real power of omnireferencing, in my opinion. And it's what I used heavily in the Sage and Michael comics in order to recontextualize, and that's a very important word. It's a very important word moving forward when it comes to using omnireferencing, is that it's a recontextualizing tool. It lets us be able to take a single image and instead of just referencing a character or an item, we reference the entire context of the image and then can change the context partially, right? So a raindrop just fell on me. The world is over. Oh, yeah, that's exactly. My cats were so dramatic whenever a little bit of rain got inside or whatever. So this is pretty cool. We're able to now see that this scene here is the moment we're looking for. I like the other results, but I think this one's probably the best out of them. So this is what I'm going to do, just so that you guys have this and we can move ourselves back over to VC Create. I'm going to show you guys how to bring things over to Discord if you are using the website or vice versa. You can click on Job ID in the hamburger menu here, and that's going to let you pop on over to Discord. And we got a lot of stuff to check out here, but we just got to type /show. And show is basically present me a prompt that I've made before, and it asks for the job ID. You're gonna paste that into there, hit enter, and wha-bam, we get the 4 results that we had on the website. Very cool. A classic Las Vegas flood. Actually, we traditionally have monsoon seasons, but we haven't seen one in a couple 8 years. A couple 8 years. What? Okay, cool. So, like, if we take a look here, we have a 3D tournament of a witch girl from Goem Pasta that they're working on in a couple years. Okay. No, I figured that's what you meant, but I just want to make sure. Like, a couple 8 years would be like 24 years. But you can see here that sometimes the 3D turnarounds are not perfect. It will kind of jitter around, or maybe you don't get the complete image that you need. The third one is more than serviceable. The third one actually gets us everything we need in order to make this a working character sheet. But the others twitch or move too fast or otherwise are a little bit chaotic. They're jittery in a way. I think all of them could be extrapolated and made into useful, ones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to do this with the Chrome video player here. So let's go ahead and select the third one here. And you can see it's all based off of this image here. Just such a cute, just a cute little witchy bitchy character. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play on this. So we were just confirming it's the right one. Perfect. Okay, awesome. And now we could, I mean, if you wanted to, if you wanted to start getting your expressions and start getting your different movements and stuff, we could start doing that with the extensions. I would rather just get our character sheet done first and then hop ourselves back and make dedicated expression sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this, okay? And I'm currently using Chrome. I think Firefox is the only one that works, but any Chromium OS or any of the Chrome based browsers will work for this. Sorry, I'm a I think the mango from this smoothie is starting to get to my throat a bit. But okay, so let's go ahead and open up this video. I have the video file here. You could just paste it in here. I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to paste it into the bookmarks bar of my browser. This is going to dedicate a window in the browser to the video. And this is important because it lets us be able to just highlight some frame that we want. Like say if we want to make a profile shot of this character or anything like that, we can just take that frame, pause it, take the frame, pause. Okay, it's not letting me just pause. There we go. Okay. We could take that, right click on it. And even though you guys can't see my right click menu on here, there is an option to hit copy video frame. It's so or save video frame. It is so useful. Oh my god! When Rhapsody found this, it was so good. I'm so happy that this is here now. Video is great at highlighting errors and artifacts too. Didn't even notice the skirt sides until after that gen. Oh, okay, yeah, and that is kind of an interesting thing. I've noticed that a lot of people have trouble getting the anatomy correct on certain designs, especially for things like I read someone complaining about like the character has two sets of eyebrows, and I'm like, do you know what an eyelid is? Do you know the fold of an eyelid is much smaller than an eyebrow, and that's what you're complaining about. You're misinterpreting that line as a second eyebrow. And the video is very good, very, very good at going, hey, this is actually what this is. And, you can basically what's the right word for this? You could troubleshoot any of these issues just by running a video file and seeing how well it interprets that character's shape in video. So yeah, you can see that GOM also included what the screenshot looks like for the save video frame as, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just click save video frame for each pose. So this will be the profile of the character. I'm going to go into desktop and hit save. And then we have the front of the character, which already exists. So that's inside of the, that was the starting frame. So we won't need that. But let's go ahead and get a 3/4, right? This is like for over the shoulder shots, or otherwise the focus is not on the character, but maybe something the character is looking at. So we're going to right click, hit save frame as, and then, save that as a slightly different name. We're going to now select the back as well, something like this, and hit save frame one more time. Boom, get that in there. And now we're also going to, we don't really need to get this angle because the character is otherwise pretty symmetrical. The only thing is the purse. The actual purse dictates a lot of this of the positioning of the character. So let's go for something like this, and that will be the fourth pose. So just because we need to be able to identify where the bag is that she's holding. So we have 5 poses, including the primary image that was used to generate this turnaround. So let's go ahead and get that open here. Bam. There we go. So only thing I'm going to say at this point is I am going to load up another Adobe program here, but this one is even more open-ended. You can literally use any image editor that you want. It does not matter. I mean, MS Paint works for this. But let's go ahead and load that up for you guys. So tablet, okay. Here's the Photoshop image of these 2 characters together that we had earlier. I got a better gen that also has the complete purse strap that's missing on this one. Well, I want to show how to do edits. I want to show how to do edits of the sheets themselves, right? In case you don't catch anything or you really want to refine it. And then we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and grab the primary image, copy, and then hit new inside of Photoshop. Boom. the weird skirt sides aren't there. Yeah. We'll be able to get rid of all that stuff with Photoshop really quick. Just to show people that there are multiple ways to handle this. But let's go ahead and first let me clear my compositions here. What we want to do to make a character sheet is we want to give us plenty of negative space around the character so that it's easy to select things. So I usually go for something like this because I'm going to put the expressions on the bottom and the character like turnaround on the top. So now we just have to go into our desktop and grab all the video frames that we have and then drag and drop them into place. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now the thing is about this, I kind of want to make sure they're in order. It don't have to do that, but I'm nitpicky like that. So let's go ahead and do this, and then this, and then this, and then this. Okay, so I want to make sure that we have plenty of space there. There we go. Now we have our turnaround fully illustrated inside of this character sheet. And now we need to start getting some expressions for them. But if there's any errors, we can address them right now. Like, for example, the she has no strap on the back, right? We could, inside of Photoshop or Midjourney, in Midjourney it's as simple as exporting this completed composition and then selecting the back sides of the character, like maybe all through here. And then also, let's see, if it's coming out this way, that means that it's going to be going this way, actually. So let me do that on the other side here as well. Get rid of this bit. Boop. And this here as well. And because this works the same in both Photoshop and in Midjourney, that because we have references that show the back of the strap here, or sorry, the front of the strap, we can easily just describe this as a purse strap. Or maybe even without any description at all, and it will understand that there is something that's missing there. That's something that should be there because other artwork, other images that have been made have a pattern to them that is evoking this strap. And by reinforcing it with some wording, we can usually get there. It looks like I didn't get there this time. I probably need to make a bigger selection, because if it's not big enough, then it won't modify enough of it, including the strap, like where it is, where the fabric is there. Let's go ahead and say back of strip. What is it? Purse strap. Purse strap on her back. That makes more sense. Purse strap on her back. So now we know who pilots it. Okay, who pilots it? Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to switch over to video here. All right, who pilots it? It's the tiny gnome. It's gnome. Gnome is piloting it. That's cute. I do like the idea that he like stretches his underwear out and then that's an escalator. I think that's funny. It would feel like he's kind of giving himself a wedgie. That is funny though. I like it. Okay. Let's see here. Did I get that strap at all? No. I got a little bit of it, but now I'm gonna move ourselves back here. I'm gonna take the suggestion from Gome here and use that other turnaround they made. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Scrolling through here. Because you made the corrections here. Yeah. Okay. So there's your turnaround. There's something missing. The second set of eyebrows. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're working on expressions here. Okay, let me find the earlier one then. Is it this one? Yeah, you got the strap on the back and everything. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and hit download there. And let's see. So when you did that, did you just do the in painting for that? Let's see. Or did you just select one of the video files that had the back strap? Yes, you selected one of them. Just some vary region in order to get those straps. Okay, yeah. In order to get these gone. Yeah, you can see now that it's much simpler design. You'll see that a lot on Instagram, by the way. If you look at like how I design my characters or how I improve my characters sort of videos. Almost all of them are going to tell you I made it too complicated at the beginning, and the animators hated it, so they sent it back and were like, please make this easier to animate, please. please, for the love of God, make this easier for me. And getting rid of little frilly details like that is an easy way to do it, as well as considering simple shapes. Always consider simple shapes in order to evoke the expression of the character just through their silhouette. That'll be something we get into. Maybe not today, but it's a lot of character theory and design. So maybe we'll get there. We'll see. But
You,
yeah, you got something, Kinky?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Let's see here. So what I'm gonna do is we got to improve our character sheet really, really quick. Tablet. So you can see the earlier version of the video that we had, it didn't have the backstrap, and it was just easier to do it in Midjourney. Thank you so much for doing it the right way for me on there, Golem. But I'm going to grab that video file. I don't know if I already downloaded it or not. Probably not, but it's okay. We got it here, download, boop. It's now downloaded, and I will load it back in the browser again. And we basically just remake our character sheet really quick. I don't need to worry about the profile shots. They are pretty good. But I do not have one from this angle. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit copy video frame and get rid of the one that I have here. There we go. Like so. That's one. We got the backside of her without the frills. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of all these because of the frills. That's right. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to update these images. You don't need to see me doing that. That's a good one. And the last one is going to be the opposite 2/3, like the over the shoulder here. Yeah, perfect. Copy. She actually spins, I think, in the other direction with this one, so that's also the order's a little silly there. But let's go for this here. Perfect. All right, now I'll show you guys what it looks like in Photoshop. Okay, so proper strap in the back, no more frilly bottom there, and we need to make sure we update the primary image so that it doesn't have that on there as well. So let me just do that really quick. Boom. Scroll up, there it is. Copy this. Look at the man go. Victor's smoothie guy selecting the best mango for the drink. Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what my smoothie guy looks like. He works. I didn't go to any fancy place today. I went to McDonald's, right? So he's just there inside the McDonald's flipping burgers and just grabs the perfect mango. It's squishy. It squishes it into my drink. I mean, try a different smoothie guy. Yeah, right. He's going to be the smoothest man on the planet. Okay, all right. So I have this sheet here. I think Golem has already started work on some expressions, some like dancing movements and things like that. Let's see what they did here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. With an annoyed expression, she dances awkwardly and slowly. That's funny. It works too. But what I'm going to do is I am going to say that we re-roll this. And we instead say with an annoyed expression she dances. I would say that we can get her to examine, or not examine, but let's do a variety of expressions. Close up of her face to see her. I wouldn't say see her. I'd say that as she gives a variety of expressions. I'm curious what expressions we get right off the bat. We might need to set the video as high, but we'll see what we get off of this here. Okay, I forgot that I'm in turbo mode. Damn. Hold on a second. Come up to here, re-roll this, and say that close up of her face, variety of expressions. So close up of her face as actually, you know what? This is going to be way more effective. Way more. Oh no! Do not show me McDonald's man. Okay, I don't want to see the McDonald. I don't want to see Ronald McDonald right now. I'm worried about that image. Story of her in my head was that she goes through the whole selected to be a magical girl trope, but she is the kind of goth, gloomy girl that hates the bright pink colors she is forced to wear. So her transformation is the closest to her normal comfy clothes that she wears. That's cool. I like that idea. Um, I always liked someone who's begrudgingly, being forced into doing something that it's fun to see them drag their feet and all that kind of stuff. But we could just re-roll this and make other relatively lower resolution expressions just based on hoping that the camera zooms in or whatever. It's actually easier if we just say, hey, let's do it. Let's just do some close-ups of her face. So inside of Photoshop, I'm going to first make sure I have the correct layer selected. So yes, I do. It's her primary close-up here. We're not going to worry about any sort of highest resolution or anything like that. We're just going to work off of this image here. We're going to make sure we have just her head selected here. I'm going to hit copy. And then inside of either Discord or Midjourney, we can actually say, hey, just do the expressions on this close-up instead. It's way more effective than trying to waste the video renders to get the camera to zoom in. So let's go ahead and I'll just do this on the website here. Paste the image here and set it as the starting frame. Let's see here. I'm on version 7. Okay, I need to get rid of this. Hit the image button here and then hit starting frame and drag that to that. Boom. Okay, now we're going to say that you could itemize every expression that you need. And there's a wonderful list that you can find on our knowledge base of just a variety of expressions. You basically want to remake remake that sheet for every character that you produce. So I'm just going to quickly pull that up for you guys. Expression sheets. And I'm not going to give you guys any specific ones just because I really do think that you guys should search for yourself on what expressions you want to have your characters, portrayed, because it's going to be really, really dependent on the design of the character. For this, an anime expression sheet would probably make the most sense. But like something like it is something that in general I would recommend looking for whatever fits the genre of your character. So let me copy this image here and paste it inside. Something like this gives you a good idea of the different expressions that you're going to be aiming for when it comes to getting a humanoid face on there. But it's also like the wording that is very useful here. So let's just say that she is laughing. And a lot of times you're combining these expressions to make even more complex expressions, right? Like for example, if we were to combine direct and amused, right, we would probably get something like joyous laughter, or just basically an overexcited determination kind of feeling. Combining expressions is by far how you take this to another level. But let's go ahead and say that she is laughing, then giggles, right? Just to get us two variations of laughter for this character here. And we could continue going farther too. We could say that she is upset and angry. Let's combine two more of them. And the neutral face is basically whatever is our base. It should be whatever our base image is in order to not skew, the results too far in one direction. But generally speaking, the neutral face will be just your character staring at the camera or staring in the same direction as the rest of the expressions. But let's go ahead and say that this is that she is curious, that she is cautiously curious. She has a cautiously curious expression. I think that would be fun. The act of combining two expressions, though, going from one to another, or otherwise they're very literally in the same space, right? This is her expression sheet, just all disdain, 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 disdain. You made that so quick. That's so funny. Okay. And so this is, you do touch on a very important point though, Gom. You really do. Sometimes characters don't really branch out to those expressions or as easily as it would be for other characters. So an example would be, a good curmudgeon, a character that's always upset. When you do finally see them smile, it's a special moment in whatever you're making because that's going to be what's so out of the norm for them. If you have someone that is, like I think of like the mother from Secret of Nim, right? Little Mouse Girl. She's like almost like a Red Riding Hood in terms of like her outfit, red mouse in a red cape. Okay, she is constantly worried and afraid for her child who she's trying to get medicine for throughout the entire movie, and you could see it in her face that she's just like determined but cautious, like determined but like knows that if she dies, there's no her kids died too, right? So there's always this element of seriousness that she has. It's only when she's with the bird who is goofy and slapstick humor that she laughs, that she gets happy for a moment. And that levity, that moment where she can relax and just be, enjoying the moment, is something that like usually is reserved for the end of the movie, right? Like you go, oh yay, everyone made it, yay, we're all alive except for that one guy, everyone's alive, yay. That's usually the moment of levity in a very easy movie. But when you have a movie that I feel like really tries to give you that complex narrative, it is important to recognize that the characters that you're showing, like if they're meant to be courageous and stuff like that, like if you contrast them as being a goofball, right? They're no longer that same courageous person. In Dan the Dan, an anime, a new anime on Netflix, there's a character that swaps between this ultra serious villainous character and this goofy main character. Okay, I love the contrast that's there, but that's done by intention. It's done with the intention of saying these are two different characters. Okay, they're just happen to occupy the same body. That's the kind of stuff that I feel like takes this to another level. Making multifaceted characters, yeah, exactly. But it's also about knowing when to use these expressions, right? So if we look at the expressions that we got for her here, based on the description that Gom whipped up for us, we want to avoid or maybe pick the most subtle version of the laughing and giggling face, right? So we have this one here where she's just kind of like, no, kind of face. Whoa, this is a more of a bigger laugh. Ha 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 ha. This one is a little more raunch, a little more out there, but nothing crazy. It's this there's a element of snarky laugh to this one that I like. So you just basically go through the expressions and you download the individual videos that feature the best expression that you can find on there. At least for the character there. I think this one has it somewhere in there. So we're going to, again, download raw video, save it, and then come into our video editor, into our video player here, and we're just going to find, I think this kind of like, yeah, you thought you won, but you didn't. Kind of like smartass sort of like expression. I think is the best for her, right? So we just kind of come into here, we hit pause, and we just kind of fast forward to somewhere in here. Good. The name position, juxtaposition. Damn it, Snoopy. Snoopy and your word play always gets me. Okay, so now we have expression one. We're gonna hit save video frame. I'm just gonna hit copy video frame. And you can see I just need to swap on over to Photoshop and then paste her expression into there. And now we can describe that as laughter in a legible text color. There we go. Laughter. Okay. And now let's go ahead and grab another expression. And you basically just fill up that whole sheet. That's the intention of referencing the character sheets. It's just knowing what you're aiming for and going and just seeing what works. So let's see if we now have she is angry and upset. She's really romping around on some of these. So let's see what we got with angry and upset. And it doesn't really matter too much that we may get some incontinuity with her outfit right now. I'm more just looking at the face. Yeah, the fists bouncing is too cute. She looks like she's riding a motorcycle at the end there. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Let's see. This one is the one where I saw a lot of bounce. So yeah, look at her, look at her, look at her fist go there at the end. The expression's not as good, but the thumping here is real funny. Okay, let's. I think the second one is probably our best bet. In order to get yeah her expression to bounce around a lot. So let's go ahead and save this one. Okay. Similar to before. Pause it and then re-scroll through, and we just find the one that was like the most angry of her faces. And I think with seeing her hair kind of bouncing inward like that is probably the best choice because it really shows like, yes, I want you to move the hair. I want the hair to evolve, or otherwise not evolve, but to emote with her, right? So let's pick the one where the hair is the most inward, like that. I'm trying to pick a good one here. Yeah, like that. I think this is good. Maybe her mouth's a little too static in this result. So let me take a look at a different one really quick just to see if I can get one with a little less static of a mouth. How about this one? Yeah, this one I feel like has more variety of her mouth shapes. Like I there's one particular mouth that I want from this one. So let's go ahead and grab this, open that up, and pause it, and then it's just where she's this right here. That's what I want. I wanted to get this one. We'll grab from both videos so that we have them, but we'll hit copy video frame, paste that, and also on this one is the one where we wanted the inward hair. I just really didn't like the. It's more like a yell. Yeah, I think this works. Let's just hit copy video frame for this one and paste that as well into our Photoshop document. So what else do we got? Oops. Now we have a cautiously curious face. This is pretty reserved. It's a pretty reserved face. But isn't it amazing how much Midjourney is able to interpolate like the what it feels like extremely subjective things like this, but it just does it. It's amazing to me. There we go. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I want. Let's check out the last one just to be sure. She looks more like depressed in this one. Let's go for this one here. It's when she's looking and reaching out with her head like that. That's curiosity, right? Because she's stretching to look for the scene, like how my spine is bending unbelievably. But the just that little teeny stretch of her neck as she is right here, I think is probably the best example that we're going to get for this. So let's go ahead and download that. It's a different tech, Reveille, for sure. Download video file. Open again. Pause. It's because OREF, at the end of the day, is not meant for characters. It's meant for everything. And and there is an element of you wear too many hats and you look a bit silly, right? Where there's benefits of using specialized tools like character referencing was specifically for characters, that kind of thing. But omni-referencing is really good at just kind of giving us something that works. It may not be perfect. It may take some work to like get it to be one-to-one, but it will quickly recontextualize your images in so many ways that goes beyond just characters. That was the problem I had when I was first exposed to omnireferencing, was that I was looking at it in the context of what I do. I almost exclusively use Midjourney in order to see my characters doing fun things in fun new places. And the thing is that I'm not using it like an architect. I'm not using it like a traditional artist or some neo-expressionist who's just wants a bunch of colors inside of a canvas. You know, whatever it is. It may not be what I use it for, but there's a lot of people who use OREF to do far more abstract things than I do. And that's okay. Like every tool has its place, but when it comes to the video, these should not feel like workarounds, because they're not. It is just another way for us to get to the same goal of creating these character sheets that we can quickly reference to create the shots like we did with the knight and the lizard dude. So what I'm gonna do now is grab this curious expression, copy video frame, and we are basically just going to isolate to just these faces inside of Photoshop really quick. And that's super easy to do with masking. So let's go ahead and do that. So we could say that this is, we're just going to first put our names in here. It kind of, even though we didn't do amazement at all, her eyes are not big enough for that. So we might need to be like, make a wide-eyed amazed expression as well. But I'm gonna for now say that this is awe instead of just shock or anything like that. So let's say that this is awe. This is anger. And this is curiosity. Okay. You can see it's like cut off on the canvas. Mm-hmm. It's for my personal use. The thing is that if I describe it as I need the character to be sad, right? That's fine. Midjourney is just going to give you a sad looking character. But what you're deciding for here is what you believe that character's sad face looks like. You have to be deterministic about what these sheets are for, because at the end of the day, you may not be the only person that uses this character. And if you could quickly say, hey, the character doesn't look like that when they're angry, it looks like this, guess what? You're not re-rolling constantly to find a different angry face. You have the angry face. You can reference it directly. And it's really more for us than it is for anybody. Even cartoonists that have drawn the same character for a decade, 2 decades, whatever, they still have little character sheets, little references that are in their offices to make sure that they keep on model. And depending on the professionalism of the project, being on model is incredibly important. There's plenty of like on model books. Sorry, I said books because Enid typed that, but there are plenty of being off model that helps certain productions, particularly like obscure 90s style animations from Nickelodeon and stuff. But almost every job is going to ask you to at least know how to make it on model, so you know where to bend and break the rules. It's essentially saying you've done this right so many times, you know what the good wrong is. But okay, so now that I have this though, I want to make sure I isolate to just the expressions of the face. So let's go ahead and make sure that it does include a little bit of the hair, because we definitely have some of the hair being elements of the expression. So I'm just going to come into here and just be like boop, and use the masking button on each one of these images. So you see here that there's this hole with a square with a hole in it. That's the mask button. Create a mask from this selection. As long as you're on the right layer, that mask will just isolate the image without deleting anything. So if I need to go back, if I didn't like how something looks, or if I made a bad edit, I can just change the mask and not have to reload the image back in. So let's get this image in here, and I can show you that because I did make a mistake on the second image here. So I have all these masked now, but you see I'm off center. with this. And that doesn't really matter too much, but I'm going to make the adjustment here. I first unlock the layer, so the mask and the layer are on separate. They're separate from each other. This means now that I can move anything inside of that mask. That is part of that layer. So let's go for this. Now she's in center, and now I can relock that back in. And now when I move it, the mask and her moves with it. So that's great. We're just gonna bring these in like so. And we have our first 4 expressions good to go of our character. And some expression sheets are just 5 or 6 images. Some of them are dozens. It really just depends on the style that you're aiming for. Anime tends to have fewer. Fewer than average, I would say. Okay, all right. That's a pretty decent character sheet to start with. It's incomplete. Like I definitely want to get like unique poses for her, but this gives us a lot to work with all right off the bat. So let's just give it a background so that it looks nice. Paint bucket, white paste. Okay, crop it down, and then I save every. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Just people having trouble rendering things. Okay, cool, cool. I guess the last thing I need to know is we need a name. We need a name for this character. What should her name? Gloomy. Gloomy is getting spammed out in support. I'm gonna name her Gloomy for now, but if you guys come up with a fun name for her, let's use it. Well, yeah. I mean, like that is funny though. Like you were going with a kind of like a begrudged character, right? So like I think Gloomy works. So let's just say, and you can always give it to the mod afterward and be like, here, this is what you look like. Uh, it fits with her lore well, right? Exactly. So let me go ahead and get this up into there. I want to make sure her name's not too big because then it will kind of crop inside the image when I need to select from it later. But we have Gloomy here. I'll let you guys fill in her lore inside of her character portal sheet, but let's go or character portal entries. But let's go ahead and select all of these, right click and say save or convert to smart object. This is something unique to Photoshop, so not a lot of you guys are going to use this, but what it does is it basically treats a composition as basically a Photoshop file inside of a Photoshop file. So I can quickly come into here if I want to make any changes, just go to edit contents, and boom, I'm right back to where I was. But it treats it as one layer, so it's really easy for me to just come into here, copy paste, come up to the VC text here, and then paste the sheet for you guys for Gloomy right here. And there you go. I'll also paste it inside of VC text so that you guys have that as well. And then we'll work on probably some of Lolo's character designs because I see a whole bunch of them and I want to work on them too. But I'm curious to see what you guys want to do. Look at the unicorn character. That's fun. Okay, all right. Kinky, do you want to do your announcements?
Sure thing.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kinky Minute. I'm Kinky Kong, and I'm here to tell you about a game that we play every single weekend. In fact, we play it twice. It's a game so nice. Every weekend, we play it twice. It's called Prompt Battles. We do it for 8 hours a day, 100 and whatever. How many weekends are there in a year? That many. That's how many we do it. What we do is for 10 minutes, we all prompt a challenge given to us by the person who won the round before. And we take our ideas and we go into our individual respective Midjourney accounts and prompt these ideas until we come up with something that we like. And then after 10 minutes, we bring those things back and we put them inside something called a poll unit. And the poll unit makes sure that everything is nice and fair. Nobody knows who's making what. Nobody knows who's voting for who. And we get to see them on this really nice format of an app. And then once we vote, we figure out who won, and the person who won tells us what to do with the following 10 minutes. And they win a free fast hour. And there are a lot of ways to win fast hours in prompt battles. You can win because a mod or a guide won. You can win because somebody won too many times. You can win because um, you played bingo, Snoopy's bingo, and you pointed out a few of the little things that we do as people in there, and that's what bingo's all about. You can win because uh, you won at crowdsourcing, which is when somebody doesn't have an idea, so they have somebody else pick the idea for them, and then everyone does the crowdsource. Like, I mean, seriously, I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm gonna keep this right between you and me and everybody else in this room. You can probably get more fast hours playing prompt battles than you can on most plans. Just saying. Um, so yeah, I hope you come and join us. We're doing it Saturday and Sunday. Saturday we start later in the day, and Sunday we start earlier in the day. And we try to make it two different schedules just so that we can get Europeans and people all over the world inside and let them play. You don't have to stay all day. Almost nobody ever does, except for the ones that are true OGs. Um, you can come in and out as you please. You can you can stay off mic if you want. I don't know why you would, but some people do. And we talk to them just as much as we talk to each other. So, yeah, come on down. Come on down to Prompt Battleville,
Yeah,
baby.
come
I
on
want to
down.
see you this weekend.
Yeah, come on down.
Was that good?
Yes, it
Was that
was.
good enough,
Yeah,
darling?
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No, thank you so much, Kinky. I really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
definitely, it helps you get out of your box that you're probably stuck in. Everyone kind of has preferences, like their own preferences, and seeing how everyone else does it really opens your potential to all sorts of different ways to do things. Uh, Okay, cool. All right, so I do want to mention something because we're running into bot issues at the moment, where there's delays in images and whatnot, and errors. Some goofy errors, by the way. I was laughing at this error code that we got here: carving goofiness snare. The mid journey errors make me laugh. But we do have a couple of fun characters from Lolo that I think will be fun to explore. I don't know if we have enough time to do the whole thing, especially with the bot errors. It might give us annoying like headaches. But I do want to mention this though, that let's try to use our character sheet just so we can get so that you guys can see what this is actually used for. It's not just to save it and know for our reference. We can actively use it inside of Midjourney, either as an entire image or just referencing a single image to get something pretty specific. It looks like the bot's coming back though, which is good. But let's go ahead and try to use a single image from the sheet and do that by taking our marquee selection tool, and let's have a let's take like this 3/4 here of her. Okay, but let's say we want to do a cowboy shot, right? So a cowboy shot is basically a medium shot. This is a medium shot. A cowboy shot includes the lower half of the torso, and it's called that so that you could see the gun. You could see the gun in a western. And so let's go ahead and select this. We'll use this as a cowboy shot. So copy that, and now we can move ourselves over to Discord here. We'll just do this inside of Discord really quick. First, we paste the image so that we have it as a link that we can actively reference. We don't need to do this when we use the website because the website will automatically do this. But we can right click on it now and hit copy image address. Okay. Now we're gonna hit slash imagine, and let's set this as the oref. So hyphen oref. And then paste that into there. Now, I will mention this too. We could easily just downstep to any model that we want. So if, say, like Niji6 worked better, then we just use character referencing with a C instead of an O. For funsies, let's just do that. All right, so we're going to use Niji6. I know Lolo is probably like, yay, he's using Niji6 again. So hyphen Niji6. And let's say that she is... let's just say that she's casting a spell with a broom in her hand or something like that. Okay, so waving her hand while sitting on a broom in the air, a witch. She casts a spell. The witch casts a spell. Let's just describe her as a witch right off the bat. The witch casts a spell. And let's set this to something like a film, so I'd say 16:9. I actually tend to use the aspect ratio of 3:2 when I'm making assets because it gives me a little more headroom than on a 16:9. But let's go for this here. 16:9, she casts a spell. And because it's DG6, it's already going to be super anime driven. We don't really need profiles unless we're aiming for a specific style. But let's go ahead and use this and then go from there. While that's rendering, I'm also... Oh, that's right. It automatically applied one of my profiles in there. I don't know why. It's probably just my default like global profile for Niji 6. So we'll go ahead and also set one for OREF as well. So switch this from Niji 6 to just version 7. Okay. And switch this from CREF to OREF. Okay. And then we'll hit enter on that. So you could see that with Niji 6, we definitely got it in terms of she's sitting on a broom. It's a cowboy shot. We didn't need to describe her outfit at all or anything like that because it's preserved within the reference itself. We might need to in-paint a few details like maybe she's not wearing a hoodie or something like that. But this gets us 95% there. But if we now use it as an Omni reference, you could see just it doesn't really understand that the context of what we want, but it is giving us the image as literal, far more literal than it is with Niji 6. So if we take a look, I think the out of all these, she's sitting on the ground, so we just need to reinforce that she's in the air for the version 7 version of this. So we highlight it here and say that in the clouds of a bright blue sky, she waves her hand while instead sitting, while flying. I would say not while flying. I would say that she is, I would say sitting on a broom instead of in a broom. I think I misspelled that earlier. The witch casts a spell. I think by reinforcing what sort of background we want, the Omni reference will understand better that she needs to be floating in the air. So let's go ahead and hit submit on this. It's also true that profile code that's in here. I want to get rid of that. I want to see if I come into here, hit cancel. Boop. I need to come into here and select all this. And with my slash settings, I need to see if I need to get rid of any sort of defaults that are there. Because Niji6, it's not letting me change profiles inside of here. So let's check the website really quick. Inside the website, you can change your model by coming over here and selecting version, any previous version of Midjourney. So I am not seeing any profiles turned on for version 7. But if I switch to Niji 6, we can come into here and make sure that's just turned off. And that should make sure that doesn't show up anymore, but I could be wrong. But let's go ahead and see what we get. Oh, there we go. Just by describing the background, we got it. We got exactly what I was asking for. Her with her hand in the air, floating. It's just amazing what happens with OmniReference as soon as you start including the details that are missing from the first result that you get. It's so much more iterative than character referencing is. So now she's only missing her hat. So we could do vary region and say, hey, all right, she's wearing a pink witch's hat as well. So we just select all this area up here and say add just that she's wearing a pink witch hat because that's the only missing context that's here. While wearing a large pink witch hat and in the clouds of a bright blue sky, we should be able to get her to show up there. Oh, wait, we need to get rid of a couple things. We need to get rid of the profile, and we need to get rid of version 7, and then hit submit. Version models do conflict with each other. Okay, what is this? This might just be the internal error. The OREF bug? Is it OREF? Okay, it's the OREF bug. So let's get rid of OREF and then hit submit. No, that's not it either. Still not fixed. Okay, you can't do that either. It's not a bug. Okay, okay. Let's do version. It requires the web editor. Okay, all right. So this is a bug that I have not encountered before. Let's go ahead and do this the other way. It's a feature. Yes, exactly. This headache is a feature. But what I'm going to do is instead just add it to the original prompt because we're already so close there. So while wearing a large pink witch hat and in the clouds of bright blue sky, the pink witch, let's just also describe her as the pink witch casts a spell. And that should get us largely there. And I see other people are already rendering stuff too. The zombie mermaids. That's cool. I like that. Lolo, this is fun. Definitely reminds me of a couple of shows. Okay, in the clouds. Okay, so this is someone else's prompt. This is I Troll for Use. Let's check out mine really quick. But I Troll for Use. It's in the bright blue sky. She waves her hand while sitting in a broom in the air. The witch casts a spell. I think this is just a different iteration of that, but a different profile maybe. What is this? Whee! The beagles are running. They're coming. The beagles are coming in the weird Technicolor world. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. This is exactly what I wanted now. This is without a doubt exactly what we were aiming for. We got the cowboy like shot. Her knees are up in the air now because of the angle. This is great. We could also with the web editor in Paint like an effect, like a particle effect or some sort of like sigil or something that's floating in the air. Okie dokie. Devs are doing dev things and might be a few hiccups, but they're on it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for looking into that, Celeste. We are coming to the end of the stream here for today. We do have something called the show after the show that I'm going to encourage you guys to join. It is something that because each week we try to tackle something different. If this stream didn't really do it for you, then the next stream will. We will also be heavily focusing on fantasy on the next stream. So expect a few fun things to drop there for that. But thank you so much for that, Kinky. I really appreciate that because it's the perfect time for me to do the segue.
Of course.
Join the Gnarly Studios server to join the show after the show so that you can come on the stage and start talking with us. But we don't do that on the Midjourney server. We do that on the Gnarly Studios server. It's a great way for you to meet the local community and see what we are all up to, as well as to ask any questions directly. So if we didn't really cover what you were interested in, this is a very bare bones, like a basic character sheet development that we did. Today, I'm very, very interested to see what you guys are working on so that we have an idea of what we can tackle for next week. But I expect that we're going to be diving heavily into Rhapsody's multi-profile codes that she's been mashing together and doing some really fun stuff with that for the fantasy series. So, yeah, yay, Gnarly Studios, yeah! We also want to see the projects you guys are doing, so please share them on that server in any of the various channels that whatever makes sense. Please share it there, and we will review it during the show after the show. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Kinky for co-hosting with me today. Thank you so much.
Always.
And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to see you on the show after the show, okay? If you just entered in here, like I saw Cosmic and Phoebe do, click on that show after the show, go to the server Gnarly Studios thing right now. Just click on this. Click on that. Because that's where we're going right now, okay? All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. You all have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.